So we all saw it coming. Boris Johnson today has broke his 2019 manifesto promise not to raise taxes by putting an extra 1.25% on national insurance and dividend tax. Let's see what it means. So these plans come as part of a promise to try and overhaul health and social care. Obviously they've been struggling due to the pandemic, and we are being sold this idea that it will help the NHS with the backlog from the operations they've not done over the course of the pandemic, and then eventually it will be stepped into health and social care to help people later on in life with costs. How and where that will be spent has not really been made clear. How it will step down, we don't really know. And where it eventually will go, we're promised it will go to the front line, but with all these things you've got to take them with a pinch of salt. Things can change, governments can change, but for now it's here to stay. So if you earn over £9,000 and you work in the UK, whether that be Scotland, Wales, England, you will have to pay this 1.25% extra. This will help raise £36 billion over the next 3 years. It's important to note that this national insurance rise also affects people over the pension age but that are currently still working. This is to try and bridge the gap between people of different ages, so it's not just a case of younger generations funding the older generation. The national insurance your employer pays on your behalf is also going up. Whether you know it or not, employers pay 13.8% national insurance to the government for having you as an employee. This is also going up by 1.25%. Now this means a couple of things. One, it might be less likely you can now get that pay rise. Your employer now has an extra cost. If they have many employees, that's quite a substantial cost to the business. And number two, as a consumer, that cost could be passed on to you. The price of goods is already going up with inflation, and this is now going to be added to with the fact that their costs of employment are going to be higher. Also, you then have the possibility that some companies that would take employees may now go for a self-employed or a contractor because they don't have to pay this. They just pay them their day rate, whatever it is, the contract length. They have that as one cost, and then it's up to the employee of the company that they're contracting in, or the self-employed person, to pay national insurance for themselves. The big one that no one see coming was the extra charge on dividends. So if you are a shareholder of a company, or you hold shares, say on a trading platform, and they are not in a tax efficient wrapper, so something like an ISA, you will now be charged an extra 1.25% on those dividends. So company owners, shareholders. This is only above your £2,000 annual allowance. But still, this could be a range of people. You could even fall into all three of these categories. If you own your own business, or you have a limited company, then you could be an employee of that limited company. You would pay the 1.25% premium. You then own the company, and the company pays employer national insurance contributions plus the extra levy. Now you want to take a dividend out of your company at the end of the year, and that will also be subject to the 1.25% levy. Now the idea of this was to try and make sure it hit a fair range of people so that companies would be taxed as well. Whether this is fair, whether it should have been done on income tax, that's a different story. Will we see extra rises in the future? Well, Boris Johnson refused to answer the question, even though he was asked 3 times at the press conference he just gave, whether he would increase taxes in other ways and other areas. So it's anybody's guess, and I wouldn't be holding my breath. As he states, this is for health and social care. This is nothing to do with furlough. This is nothing to do with how they've given money to companies. That 400 billion, or whatever the figure is they're saying now, still needs to be clawed back from somewhere. So I think he wasn't answering that because he knows in his heart that there's other things coming. So what do you think? Is this rise fair? Would you do it a different way? Comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more great content.